So now, to get ourselves really organized for our edit, we are going to group together the B-roll selects with each dialogue segment. We do have a voiceover element that we're going to be adding to this edit, so let's import that now. I'm going to right-click in the project panel, click on Import. In our Nelson folder, we are going to click on the voiceover folder and push Import. Excellent. I will hit the drop-down menu there, and we have an MP3 that we will now bring onto the timeline. The first thing I'm going to do is hit A on my Mac keyboard. That brings this tool that when I click on a clip will highlight everything and allow me to drag it over to the right of it. So if I click here, you'll see everything to the right of this double arrow tool is highlighted. And that's another tool that's really useful when you're editing. I'm going to push V on the keyboard to go back to our select tool, and I will drag down this voiceover onto the timeline. Feel free at any point in this course to pause a lesson and listen to the dialogue again so that you've got it in your head and you've got a feel for what kind of clips we're looking for. Or if you need to pause it for any other reason, then that is a-okay, and in fact, it's encouraged. In future lessons, we will play out the audio and all of the dialogue, but for now, I will give you a quick overview of what this voiceover says. It's intended to go at the beginning of this edit, and it talks about how the town of Nelson is tucked away in the Selkirk Mountains. So first, we are going to find the B-roll clips that go with what is being said in that dialogue. In this lesson, you are going to be seeing, and you can choose to follow along with my decisions as to where I'm deciding to place certain B-roll clips with certain dialogue clips. So this is going to give you an idea as to how an editor will make decisions when it comes to grouping B-roll clips in certain areas. If you start to find yourself getting confused with following along with where clips are being placed, don't worry too much, because closer to the end of the lesson, we are going to do a recap where I am going to let you know, for example, bring clips 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 under this marker in this area. And at that time, I encourage you, if you are following along, to recap and make sure that you have all of your B-roll clips in the order that I mentioned, or at that point, you can decide to drag the B-roll clips where I recap and tell you that they need to be. I've also provided a downloadable PDF in the resources so that if you want to see which B-roll clips are what, you can refer to it. So let's get started here. Those first 4 1920 by 1080 clips are the Selkirk Mountains, and they go with this voiceover. So I've highlighted them and dragged them over top of the voiceover. Those are clips 4, 5, 6, and 7. I'm going to push A on my keyboard and drag over that dialogue more to the right. We will continue scrolling through our B-roll. These next 3 clips of B-roll, 8, 10, and 13, are going to be used to show a glimpse of the town of Nelson before the host starts talking about the details and more specific things of the town. So I will highlight those 3 clips and pull them over. I will put them beside the Selkirk Mountain clips for now. Again, I'm going to push A on my keyboard and drag this dialogue over because I'm looking to basically make groups with a little bit of space in between each of the B-roll clips and the dialogue. So let's continue scanning through the B-roll. I'm not sure what I'll do with these next few clips, but I see here we've got some hiking clips. So I'm gonna just drag 17 down onto the V1 track. So I remember that's the first of these clips I wanna use. We'll continue scrolling through. These next 4 clips, 17, 18, 19, 20, are clips of hiking. This clip here, number 19, is Pulpit Rock. That is the destination that the host talks about hiking to, so that will go along with the hiking clips. And clip 20 is the view from Pulpit Rock. So these 4 clips go together. I'll just bring 17 back up on V2, highlight those 4 clips, push Command X on my keyboard. The fourth clip with dialogue on it is talking about Pulpit Rock and hiking. So I'm going to highlight and drag these 3 dialogue clips over. As you can see, I've got V2 track highlighted in blue and not the V1 track, so I can push Command V on my keyboard so that those clips go over the hiking footage. And I'm going to drag this 5th dialogue clip over more. That's great. We will continue scrubbing through this footage. Clip 24 is a shot of the viewpoint from Gyro Park, which is another place that the host talks about. So let's scan through. These 3 clips, 24, 25, and 26, are B-roll shots of Gyro Park. So I'm going to just move 24 back up, highlight 24, 25, 26, push Command X, and I will hover over the dialogue that is associated with Gyro Park, which is the 3rd dialogue clip in. It's right here, and I'm going to push Command V to paste those 3 B-roll clips that associate with Gyro Park right there. I will highlight that grouping and just move it over a bit. We will continue scrolling through our B-roll. 29, 30, 41. Those 3 clips are Lakeside Park, which is another talking point. So I'm going to hold down Shift. Holding down Shift on my keyboard allows me to highlight all 3 of those clips. And now I'm going to push Command X on the keyboard to cut those clips. And this clip here with the bridge and the waterfront behind it also have dialogue talking about the park. So I will push Command V. Let's put some more spaces in between each group. Space them out a little bit. Okay. I'll go back to this first grouping, and I'm going to move over clips 8 and onward and push Command V, because these mountain shots will work nicely with those first few mountain shots. Just get rid of the negative space there. Okay, so as we're starting to organize, it's getting a little confusing. I know this footage really well, but if you don't know the footage so well, it might be challenging to remember where everything is. So another great tool that Premiere Pro has that I use often when I'm editing projects like this is the marker tool. So let's push M, and as you see, it created a marker. That's all fine and dandy, but let's use this marker and take it a step farther by holding down the Option key on our keyboard and now dragging that marker out. Now we don't need to have the Option key held anymore, and we're going to just drag that side of the marker out as well. Next, we're going to double click on the marker and we're going to name it. We're going to name each group to make it much easier to navigate and to find the clips that we need to find. So this first group we're going to call Selkirk Mountains and push OK. And just to recap, we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, and 3 clips within Selkirk Mountain. These next set of clips are shots of Nelson. For now, let's call the marker that we're going to create Nelson Views. I'll push M, hold down Option on my keyboard, drag this marker out, double click on it, and we'll call it Nelson Views. Okay. In scrubbing through the B-roll selects, I did see a few other Nelson Views, so we will go back to the B-roll. For now, because I know that we don't have a specific talking point about these B-roll clips of the waterfalls and the trees in the road, we are going to put them within Nelson Views. Okay, so let's grab clips 14, 15, 16, Command X on the keyboard. We'll go over to Nelson Views and push Command V. Let's drag those to the left of the timeline a bit more, and we'll drag the marker to the left a bit more. Let's continue scanning through the B-roll. Clip 27 is a Nelson View. I'm just going to drag that down to the V1 track. Clip 45 we will consider a Nelson View with the City of Nelson sign. 46 and 47 we'll consider Nelson views. 9 and 11 are Nelson views, so we'll drag those down to V1. 38 is a very popular, well-known bridge in Nelson, so we will consider that Nelson view, pull that down. Let's drag the Nelson view B-roll clips that I've just brought down to V1 together. We will now highlight them, Command X. Let's move all of that footage over. Now we'll push Command V, delete the negative space there. I'll push A again to move everything to the right of the Nelson views over. Now I'll push Command V on my keyboard and we'll drag this marker out more. Okay, let's go through the remaining B-roll clips. 21, 22, and 23 are part of Gyro Park, which is a talking point. These clips could also be transition points, which we'll talk about more when we're putting our edit together. But for now, for the sake of organization, we will label them as Gyro Park. Highlight them, Command X. There's Gyro Park, so we'll push A to move everything over to the right of it. Command V. This first talking clip, number 12, is an intro clip, which also shows the host. Likely we're going to have the Nelson Views B-roll lead into this clip. I'm going to move it to the left for now because we don't have any specific B-roll. We're going to use right over it. We will drag over this lakeside park and beach footage. Push M, hold down Option, and drag out our marker. We're going to call this marker Water Front. Okay. Clip 28 can go over there with the waterfront. This is a really nice shot. The camera movement's beautiful and the sun flare's lovely. The composition's great. So this is going to be a clip that we'll probably use at the end of the video to end it strongly. But since we're not 100% sure where we're going to be putting it yet, we will put it with the other waterfront footage for organization purposes. Okay, and for now, the remaining B-roll clips that we haven't placed anywhere, we will also consider waterfront. Again, 37, 39, and 40, the clips showing the sailboats in the water, they might be used for transitional clips from one talking point to another, but for now, we will consider them waterfront because they are. So we'll just get rid of the negative space in between those clips, highlight the remaining B-roll clips that we haven't placed anywhere, push Command X, and we will push A to move this over, Command X. Let's drag the waterfront marker over that. This is the dialogue. Push M, hold down Option to drag out that marker, double click on the marker, call this intro dialogue, push OK. Over here to the right of the waterfront marker, let's make another marker, drag it out, double click on it. This is going to be called Gyro Park, G-Y-R-O for gyro. Just going to move those clips over a little bit. The hiking clips are next, so we'll push M, hold down Option or Alt on our keyboard to drag the marker out. We'll call this hiking. Over here, we have our final clip. We'll push M, Option to drag that marker out, double click on the marker. We're going to call this outro dialogue. Okay. All right. Before we move forward, let's do a quick recap of where all of the clips and the dialogue goes so that we're on the same page. All right, so first under the Selkirk Mountains marker, we have clip 1, clip 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, and 3. Underneath that, on the audio tracks, we have the Nelson voiceover. Underneath the Nelson Views marker, we have clips 8, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 27, 45, 46, 47, 9, 11, and 38. The third marker on our timeline is the intro dialogue. This is clip 12. Next marker is called waterfront. We have the dialogue clip 34, and our B-roll clips are 29, 30, 41, 28, 32, 48, 49, 50, 37, and 39. Under the gyro park marker, we have the dialogue clip 36, the B-roll clips 24, 25, 26, 21, 22, and 23. Remember, if we're moving too fast, pause and go back and review. And we also have the downloadable PDF in the resources folder that you can follow along with, just to make sure you're on the same page with where the clips are organized and where they've been placed currently. Moving along, under the hiking marker, we have the dialogue clip 42, B-roll clips 17, 18, 19, and 20. And finally, we have clip 44, which is the dialogue piece under the outro dialogue. Okay, so you know what? We've called the sequence rough cut, but this isn't actually the rough cut. We've organized all of the footage, all of the selects, and we've labeled all of them so we know what they all are now. But we aren't going to create our rough cut in this sequence. So let's go up to the project panel, drop down sequence. We will double click on the rough cut sequence, and we're going to change the name of this. We're going to call this Organized Selects. Click off that. Okay. So now as we're creating our edit, if we ever need to go back and reference any of the select clips, we can do so by referencing this sequence. So not only for creative purposes, but to really get in the flow of an edit, I love editing to music. So in the next lesson, we are going to learn about where to get your music from, how to use it, and how to choose it.